Welcome everybody, thank you for coming to our October meeting. This is Jamie Fredricksen. I met you, what, it's about 2 months ago now?
Mm-hmm.
And Jennifer, his wife, at a meeting with our board. And I thought Jamie's story was pretty damn fascinating, actually. So I'll have him give you his background, but I believe Jamie was in the military and eventually left the country to go to ibogaine. I'd also like you to talk about like how you felt as well when you did that, because I thought that was really important. Is there anything else? With no further ado, Jamie Fredricksen.
See, I can start the story. Jamie Fredricksen, I'm 51. I did ibogaine 2.5 years ago. In June, I did it it was a 10-year anniversary of a bad motorcycle wreck I got into, so I did it at that time. I thought it had a little bit of, I could get rid of some of that stuff that's happened to me. I guess I'll go farther back. In 2001, I was in a motorcycle wreck. In 2001, I was hit by a pedophile with 4 little girls in the car that weren't his. That happened in 2001. And in 2012, I T-boned a car on a Harley at about 55 with no helmet on, no crash gear. I was also a fireman, a rescue diver, ex-military. I dealt with a lot of trauma from the wreck in 12 because I didn't have a helmet, crash gear on. I had just dropped my wife off at work. She had a Spider bike, and she told me, she said, "Don't be a jackass," or whatever. And like I said, on the way home, some drunk pulled out in front of me, and I T-boned him at about 55. I flew over the car. Obviously, sports and contact sports, first thing I did, and when I hit the car, was cover my head. And so as I hit the car and flipped over it, I landed almost up and down like this. So straight up and down, and I slapped the concrete, and I slid about 50 feet. I broke my ribs. I shattered my thumb in 3 places. I messed my neck up pretty good. During that situation, the guy left me in the middle of the road. He pulled out and left me, and another car was coming at me. The car didn't see me laying in the road. I got to watch my life in reverse again. So as I laid in the road, I watched the car lights. They were like a quarter, and then I blinked and they were closer, and I blinked and they were like right here, and then my life stopped. I got to watch my life in reverse. In the last second, something whispered in my ear, "Roll over." So I accepted the fact I was going to die. I got to feel the DMT rush. I didn't feel no pain. But at the last second, something in my ear said, "Roll over." And as I rolled over at the last second, the car missed running me over by like that much. Along with dealing with my injuries, I had a business that I had to close because I was dealing with my own issues. When you feel like you're going to die, it really does weigh heavy on your mind. When you accept the fact that you're going to die, and then you don't die, you're like, whoa, why? So I dealt with a lot of stuff from that, trauma from childhood I just don't talk about. So I dealt with that situation, and I kind of went into a really deep depression. I couldn't understand. I've always been a fix-it guy. I always can look at stuff and say, I can fix this because I know I can look at this, but for some reason, I was stuck in the rearview mirror, always trying to fix a problem that's not solvable. I just couldn't accept the fact that it happened to me. Why? And I think the part that bothered me the most about the accident was 4 blocks before I stopped. I had a light 4 blocks before I got hit. I said, "Thank you, God, I got a perfect life." And I got hit 4 blocks later. So I had a lot going on mentally that way, trying to deal with that stuff. I felt like the movie Final Destination, kind of like I skipped death, and then death's going to be coming around. So I have a child that's visually impaired. So I put him in judo because I felt like, I'm going to die soon. I got to do something. I got to get my kids ready, stuff like that. And I ended up starting both my kids in it. And then from there, my blind son didn't like it, but we transitioned to jiu-jitsu. And the coach would harass me all the time. I was messed up real bad, going through surgeries and stuff. I had my neck fused. I started jiu-jitsu and been training, started my own gym. It was helping me, but I couldn't get over. Like, it's like when you start your car. It'll start, but when you get to that gear that's broken, it goes. Eh. It's like I could never get over the hump. I could get where I felt better, but I just couldn't let go of the traumas. It was like stuck to me. It was like, and then I just kept reliving my situation over and over in my head, trying to fix something. And it was like, I kept putting myself through the shit for years, trying to fix it in my head, trying to make sense of it, like I just, instead of just maybe saying, shit happens, sometimes to good people, I didn't think I was a bad person or stuff like that. And so my wife was, she would watch the Sean Ryan show, and she noticed that Sean had gone through the ibogaine experience, and she said, "I think you need to do this. I think this will be good for you." And I was like, "I don't know anything about this stuff. Like what? You're bringing this up to me." I'm like, so I'm watching stuff. I'm like, "Really? You want me to go do this?" Or like, "Really? These people are." You could die doing this. It's a common concern. There's been people that have passed away from it. And she would harass me, so I was like, whatever, I can handle anything, whatever. So she signed me up, and I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. If this is gonna fall through or something. But then, a month before I left, I was hit head on in my car at like 50 miles an hour with my kids in the car. Some lady and I was in the middle of 3 cars, and this lady just pulled across and hit me head on my side. So I had broken my neck, and then I ripped the nerves from my neck from the C5, C6 to my arm. My arm went totally like dead. So, I mean, I shrunk to half size. I had like a hole in the back of my arm where my muscles went away. So I'm like, well, this is just something trying to stop me from going to ibogaine. So I texted Trevor and said, "Oh, I just hurt my arm." I didn't tell him how bad I was. I just hurt my arm. Is this going to stop me from going? He's like, "No, you're fine." I'm like, "Okay." You really don't know what's going on. You wouldn't let me go, But I ended up going. My wife ended up making the appointment. Obviously, none of this would have happened without her. Because she's the one that's pushed me. So my brother's a war vet too. Um, he called me and he said that he was at his wit's end. I took that as he was going to commit suicide. So I said, "Hey, why don't we just go do this brotherly thing and go to Mexico and do this ibogaine?" He's like, "Well, what?" So he started looking up. He's like, "Yeah, I'm game. We'll go. We're, brothers. We're gonna go do this together. We're gonna tackle this situation. So we were the first sibling group ever to go through, because they usually don't do sibling groups. because of people care about other people, you're gonna not deal with your experience. Like that's why you don't go with your wife, because if your wife is she's crying out, I'm gonna worry about what's going on with her and not worried about what Ibogaine's trying to give me. So we went to it's kind of a boring story, sorry. We went to Arizona to meet up with my brother, and we drove to California. They picked us up in a SUV. Um, we did like intake. They have nurses and doctors and all that stuff. You know, it's a really nice place, Ambio. Huh? Yeah, we went into Tijuana, which I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna wake up and organs are gonna be gone. Like I told her I'm gonna be missing a kidney or something. I was checking myself. I'm like, is everything still here? But no, it's wonderful. They took us the first day, and we did like a medical intake where they check our blood pressure and stuff like that, because they want to make sure that it is hard on your heart. It can. They want to make sure you're physically okay for it, and they constantly checking with us, and the staff was just amazing. They were just the most wonderful people. So the first day we did intake, then the next day we went to do the 4-door ceremony, which is like 2 hours in a pizza oven, I call it. But it's like I have pictures, but it's a big, what's like a big huge sauna, steam sauna, and this lady's in here. She is fully clothed, and we were like laying in the sweat on the ground, like, oh my God, how does she do this? But it was just part of the ceremony. So we did that, and then so we go to do the we come back. They don't let you eat the whole day before the ibogaine, because obviously they don't want you aspirating or puking, or even though you could still puke, because I did. But they kind of monitor all that stuff. But then we did we did the ibogaine. We were the first synthesized dose they got from the Ghana tribe. It was 4 pills, and I think I'm trying to remember if it was like 45 minutes, and then the last pill they would come up to you and say red or blue pill, like the Matrix, and they would tell you before, once you're in the Matrix, you can't get out of the Matrix until you're done. So just be prepared. You're going to be in there for a while. So you stand out by the fire and you kind of give what your intention for ibogaine is. You want, you can ask for something. It may not give you that, but ibogaine will give you what you need, not necessarily what you want. So so we sat around the fire, and you have your intentions. Mine was to relieve all the pain from my past traumas, because you do have counseling before with a psychedelic counselor, and obviously I brought up the fact I was like, I wanted 2012. I want to know why this happened. I wanted, that was my thing. And she's like, why would you want to go through ibogaine and live through that again? You're going to live through that whole trauma. You're going to go through the whole thing again. So we kind of came up with the idea of like, well, kind of get rid of the past trauma, some of the pain from the past trauma that I'm holding on to. So we did the treatment. It was a room with 5 mattresses on the ground, heart monitor, a flower, a candle, a batiti rattle, and a mirror. And they play the African batiti music, which I could play that. I mean, it is mind scrambling. It is the most. If you look up ibogaine music one time, you'll be like, I can't believe you listen to this. but so they play it pretty loud for about the first 4 or 5 hours of your ibogaine experience, and you're like, oh, this in the beginning you're like, this music sucks. Can somebody put some shit in my ears? It's very erratic, very mind scrambling. But by the time they turn it off, you're like, where did music go? I started to get used to this after 4 or 5 hours of getting mind scrambled. So you take your 4th pill, and you'll feel it kind of kick in a little bit. You'll feel like the world, kind of like the Matrix. That's what I think of it as, like the world of, whoa, like that. I was like, oh, I need to get up to the bed before I'm like laying out by the pool having this experience, you know. So I went up and they're playing the Batiti music and you do the rattle and stuff, and then it's like the whole world like came into a ball and just hit me in the face, like it was like that. Um, and then me being, you have an eye mask, so I'm like, oh, I'm not going to deal with this. Well, I put my eye mask down and I was like, oh my God, I can still see in color. I'm looking at my brother next door with I'm like, I got my eye mask on, I can still see him. I'm like you couldn't run from it. It was like you were there. It's like you're in for the long haul. The experience itself, um, going back to the me asking for um, get rid of the pain from my past traumas. Well, I had a lot of nerve pain in my legs. Obviously, I had this nerve problem here that was really bad. One of the things during my ibogaine experience, I felt my waist on fire, which was a weird experience, I thought, and it was actually very painful. Like I was rocking back and forth like this, like, oh my God, like what's going on here? It was like a slow burn down my legs, and it felt like it was going on for like an hour, but it may have been 10 minutes. Who knows? Because the time during that time, 10 minutes feels like, forever. But it slow burned down my legs and it burned under my feet. Well, the next day I didn't have any nerve damage no more. And then my arms started working again. Like I'm supposed to be paralyzed from that accident. So I was one of the people that used ibogaine for the nerve regeneration. I was gonna have, and I didn't actually know that it was going to do it that way. I went for other reasons, and then that's why. I mean, see what ibogaine does, what you need, and not what you necessarily you want. So my arm started working, and I felt no pain. If anybody's ever ripped any nerves from your neck to your arm, it's horrific pain, 24 hours a day. And I noticed when I got out, like my arms started working, and the muscles started building back up, and like I mean, now this arm's bigger than this one. I don't know why, but I'm looking funny. But but um, but the experience itself, it's going to show you things that I think for me it was like you think about. I always think about it like a computer. When your computer gets full of viruses or whatever, what do? You set it back to its factory settings and everything runs okay. Ibogaine sets you back to factory settings, but you have to learn feelings again. For me, I had to learn feelings. I had to learn like love didn't feel the same. Um, Disappointment didn't feel the same. Anger didn't feel the same. I lost my best friend, my ego. My ego went away. I was like, that was been my best friend and probably my worst enemy my whole life, and I mean, my ego was so bad, and if I lost in jiu-jitsu, I'd be like, why am I doing this? And like, I lose like 2 times a year, maybe, and I'm like, I'm upset about these 2 times. I'm like, oh, you stink. You should be better than this, and you shouldn't have lost it. But it don't mean nothing, now. It's just, I'm doing it for the joy of it instead of necessarily, I'm not going to be a champion anytime soon. I'm not old now. Just to keep my mind good. So like during my one of the experience, I was seeing pictures go by my head like this all the time, talking about the, defragging first, so I was, and you can't see them. They're going so fast through your head. And you're like, but with ibogaine, you can say, stop, go back, and it'll go back to that picture. You can control it enough, to where you can go back and look at it. So I could go back to pictures that were going through my mind. But, we see pictures of people all the time. We store all those pictures, we not remember it, but we store them all. And for what it did for me is I just think it took all the extra bullshit out and this set me back at factory settings. And again, I had to learn feelings a little bit. They were, like I said, they were a lot different. They didn't have as much, anger didn't have as much weight as it used to have. It doesn't, I haven't figured out disappointment yet. I haven't even figured out disappointment, but I'm working on it though. I'm working on it. But like during the experience, I seen toward the end of the, I was out for about 25 hours, and so you're on an IV. Fluids, the nurse is always checking you. There's always a doctor. What was nice about it too is that all the nurses and the doctors had been through the ibogaine treatment, and I also did the 5-MeO DMT. That was the caveat on top of it. So we got to do that after they beat the ibogaine was rough. Yeah. Well, you do like ibogaine felt like me. Like I'd never been so mentally beat up and physically beat up in my life. Like I've never been so tired in my life after that experience. It was just so intense, like just tired. So you have like a gray day after, and then you go do the frog venom 5-MeO DMT, which is they call it the God molecule, where you get to go visit God or spend time with Source, God, whatever you believe in. So you again, you go into those with intention also. You know, you want answers to things. You know, I wanted to know, since I've been in so many near-death accidents and stuff like that, and other things in my life. I'm like, where do we go after this? Where am I gonna be? So when I did the DMT with 5-MeO, the frog venom, we smoked it. I got to go to this presence that was it felt like I was in this cloud of energy, and every cell of my body was being held by a string, and this energy was showing me love times a million. Like to the point where I came home, I told my wife, I said, I don't know if I love you anymore. I felt some extreme love there. I was like, I don't know. I said that, didn't I? I was like, it was like,
Within 10 minutes of seeing me.
it was like, I was like, I'm going back and do that frog venom. You're out of here. You know, but it was such a wonderful experience to feel all that. Like there was so much, I felt so much love that I couldn't breathe almost. Like, I mean, it was like so immense that it kind of put a perspective on life that I don't like. If this is where we go after, man, it's wonderful. You know, why worry about anything anymore? You know, you worry about death, you worry about, you know, I'm sick or I feel this or whatever. I don't worry about it as much as I did anymore, because it's like, if I'm going there, that's amazing. I mean, sign me up. I'm gonna get on my motorcycle and ride home right now. You know? But yeah, the DMT experiences, you feel like you're gone for about 8 hours, on that one, but you're only gone like 21 minutes, and it's like you're there and back. You know, it's like, I mean, it was to the point where some of the people that were in there were screaming, "Take me with you, don't leave me." Like they were, because you do the DMT by yourself because it's such a small window of time. But there was people in there that were pretty emotional by what they seen, that they wanted to stay with God or Source or whatever you believe in.
Did they see relatives or somebody?
Huh?
Did they see relatives or somebody?
Yeah, some people see different things. I never talked to my brother about what he's seen. I just thought it was kind of personal to what he wanted to see. You know, his experience is personal to him. I mean, the funny part during why you don't go with your siblings, why they don't do it, is because I was the only one that got sick. So I was dry heaving. So I'm like, oh, I'm not going to cry out. I'm not going to be the one. I'm just puking in a bucket, you know, for hours. And I feel this person. I'm like, I got to be tripping or something. Somebody's wiping my face off. It's my brother. He's in the middle of his ibogaine treatment. He's wiping my face. He's wiping my face. I'm like, thanks, bro. He's like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, later. We're back in the zone, you know. But there was another guy that came that had this injury for 20 years. Obviously, he didn't get his arm back, but he went there and he lost, all the nerve pain went away for him. Also, he was dealing with it for 20 years. So I dealt with it for a month and a half, and I wanted to choke on a bullet. It was that bad, you know. It was horrible. And I can imagine, you know, just having the relief. I mean, you hear the stories of guys that go there with special operators that go there with canes and got to wear glasses and stuff. You know, they leave and they're not wearing glasses and they leave their cane there. You know, it's like, you know, I don't understand why it's not available for everybody. I mean, everybody's got some form of trauma, some family trauma, or, you know, that I think it would just help everybody. I think by holding this back is hurting us more than helping, you know. It's very expensive, which is, you know, now that it's out, we got to go out of the country. I mean, it's how much was it?
It was about total with airfare about 10 grand.
So we pay 10,000 out of pocket to do this stuff, you know. And this is something that comes from the ground that we shouldn't have to do that for. I mean, why do we have to pay that when we should be able to have this treatment here? I mean, even the people on the streets. I mean, that could help people. Could help.
And then to go to another country, you don't.
Yeah, well, why do I have to go to another country to do something that, I mean, and then you go to tell the doctor, like, hey, I did this. And they're like, you did what? Huh?
Yeah.
What? You know, they look at you like you're crazy. But I'm proof that it works. You told me my arm wouldn't work. You told me I never do jujitsu again. You know, I mean, I still do jujitsu. I mean, he must not know what he's talking about because he told me I should become a runner. I'm going to tell everybody in here, if I'm running, there's something bad happening, you better be running too. You see, you know, there's something really wrong going on if I'm running. I think every day it gets a little bit better too. It's not something that goes away. There's a big period after the experience when you're home that you could have flashbacks. You know, I did have 2 flashbacks. One after ibogaine. When I was in my room, I seen a picture on the wall, and it was like, it's like an 1800s picture, but the people were like looking at me. They were looking at me, and they were so disappointed. They were like, I just felt such disappointment. Like I'm just ruining my life. I have all these things, and I just felt like they were just, I don't know if it was like past family or whatever, but the look of it, they were like, what are you doing? Why, you know, we're disappointed. You could be doing better than this, you know. And then the other time I was at home, and like 1,000 little whirlies I seen for like 5 minutes. It was really neat. You know, I was like, oh, this is cool. You know, thank God I wasn't out driving or nothing. You know? You know, but I mean, then after you have you have 4 counseling sessions with this counselor. You know, they kind of help you decode some of the stuff you've seen because you see so much. I mean,
What are your thoughts on that, though? Do you believe that there should be more therapy, follow-on therapy, care?
that's one thing I think that should happen after. That's the one thing I think would be better is more follow-up after, because they give you 2 counseling sessions and they're like, hey, go. Well, I'm a fresh in the mind and everything's like different now. I just think a little more guidance during those times after to help navigate the different emotions you feel, because everything is different. I mean, for a while I couldn't even kill a bug in my house. I would catch it and take it outside because I'm like, it just showed me that we're all here together. We're all one being. Like the bug is no different than me, you know? So it was very hard for me to do that because I had been through the experience.
A lot of emotion. It was very flatline.
Yeah, I didn't know how to, like I said, being a certain level your whole life, amped or whatever, or dealing with PTSD, CTE, and all these other things. you know, you're so used to, it's almost like the darkness becomes your friend. You know, it's your worst enemy, but it's the person that's there with you the whole time. And whether it's telling you good things or bad, it's your constant, you know. Um, and when you come back, it's like you're just like different. It's like you're like, whoa, you know, I lost taste. I used to love coffee. I still do. I had to force myself to drink it again because I'm like, Ibogaine is not taking coffee from me. I drank coffee after. I was like, this is the worst shit I've ever tasted. I'm like, oh my God, this is Dunkin' Donuts? I'm like, what? I'm like, so I was forcing myself to get the taste back, but you know, but coffee, huh? Uh, yeah, that was a little different because you can't smoke in Mexico, but they're not against people that smoke pot. You know, they never said like when they do your intake, they'll ask you, you know, if you're on any pills or if you're an alcoholic or what, you know. And I was like, I smoke pot. And so they're like, oh no, that's fine. They're like, oh no, that's good. You're okay. But then when you get to Mexico, you can't smoke it. So what they would do is they sent one of the nurses to the pharmacy and got me like prescription CBD pills and stuff while I was there to help with the curb, you know, because I'm going, you know, and that's probably why I had such a bad DMT. I mean, it wasn't a bad DMT experience, but I probably hit it a little bit too hard. You know, they gave it to the wrong guy. You know, they felt they didn't measure it out. They just gave it to me. I was like, okay. You know, I might have went a little too far. You know, I mean, yeah, during the end of my Ibogaine experience, it got kind of fun a little bit. I got to see. It was like electricity was flowing through my arms, and it was so bright and stuff, and it's going through my fingers. I almost looked like Raiden from Mortal Kombat. You know, I was like, and I'm sitting there going like this, and I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And I know the nurses are laughing at me because they brought it up later, but I'm sitting there going like this. I'm like, oh, this is neat. I try to zap myself, you know, like, you know, but you know, but it gets fun, but again, it's pretty rough in the beginning. It's it's a ride you can't get off of. That's the best way to explain it. I mean, once you're in the matrix, you're in the matrix, and you're in the matrix until the matrix is done with you. And for me, it was like 23 or 25 hours, and it was pretty intense for probably the first 14. The first 14 were pretty. Does everybody remember when the Red Bull guy jumped out of space? Remember that feeling in your guts?
Yeah.
It's like that, but worse. You know, that feeling of like, whoa, I just did something, because it just felt like the universe like hit me. You know, I was like, you know, like whoa. You know, I mean, I seen it. Whatever's been holding me back, whatever I seen it in the form of like a demon. I don't really talk about this too much. I only talk to my wife about it. Um, During my experience, I seen something crawling up the wall, running away from me. You know, and I don't know if it's just me letting go of all my past stuff or what that symbolized. I don't know. You know, you see a lot during that experience. I don't really talk about that too much. Um,
You process situations differently.
yeah, just you know, you try to make sense of what's going on. It's kind of hard, you know, and you got to have that counselor for that. And that's why I feel like more counseling after would probably be beneficial than before. I don't care what they tell you. You're not ready for it. I thought I was ready for it. I'm like, yeah, I'm a big tough guy. I'm ready for this. No, no. I'm going to tell you, I wasn't ready. It was nothing like you. You can't prepare for it. You can't watch a video and watch somebody else go through it and experience what they're going through. It is, it's intense, but on the other side is a form of like freedom. You know, it's like I don't care even about politics. I don't give a shit about none of it no more. You know, but all that used to bother me. None of it bothers me no more because I only can control this now. I can't control any of the things that anybody else does. I only control this and this. That's it. and not get, not insert myself in the shit that doesn't even pertain to me, like the news likes to do, but it just kind of gave me a weird kind of freedom where I see the world differently now than I did before. I'm not angry. I don't see it through being pissed and angry and dealing with CTE. That's another thing I don't have no more. I used to have to wear glasses too for a while. Um,
Your face changed, remember?
huh?
Your face.
Yeah, my eye color changed a little bit. And that's a common thing I've heard that's happened. I'm not the only person that's had their eye color get lighter after ibogaine. My facial hair got white too. It's just I want to go back. They give me the color back. I didn't have any of this until ibogaine. I was like, oh.
It took about 15 years off your face.
Yeah, I got pictures like before ibogaine and then after ibogaine, and I look like 15 years younger. I don't look as stressed. You can see that I wasn't carrying all that trauma. Obviously, I got resting bitch face that doesn't go away. I look like Abe Lincoln on a bad day sometimes, And I wrestle too, and he was a wrestler, so we're all good, But I just think in this environment with everything going on in the world and everything, if everybody did this, we would be so much different. I think we'd all get along a little bit better because we're not dealing with traumas and stuff. We can just be neighbors like we used to be, and stuff like that. I just gave me my life back, and if it wasn't for her, I never would have done it. So I mean, obviously, she's the main reason. I'm just the product of whatever happened. If it wasn't for her pushing me and saying, I'm like, all right, where we get that money? Oh, don't you worry about it. I'm like, oh, you're seriously. I'm like, I even said before I left, I said, what if I die? And she said, well, that was your purpose. That was what, that was supposed to happen. It was my story. Obviously, I didn't. So you're not getting life insurance yet. That was paid before we left. She made sure to make sure it's a couple months ahead of time. But no.
And then the last thing that you said to me was, I love you, see you on the other side.
Yep. Yeah, I called her before because they take your phone away too. So you don't want to be calling somebody in the middle of ibogaine screaming about what you're seeing, and somebody's in another country like, oh my God, what's going on? But
25 hours no contact.
yeah, it's 25 hours no contact. So that was a little bit rough on her.
It was very hard.
So I don't see the negative to it. I mean, you just have to. You got to go through hell to get better. Maybe that's a bad way of putting it. All the traumas you've been through, everything you've been through, you gotta have to face it, and you're just gonna have to get rid of it.
You have to give yourself grace when you come home too.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff you don't understand when you come home. You're just kind of confused a little bit. Kind of sit to yourself, and then the world looks different now, and the world feels different, and yeah, everything changes. It's like putting on a whole new set of lenses on the world, and you're not seeing it through cloudy glasses now. You can see the world as it really is.
Do you remember Smoothie?
Oh yeah. Oh, smoothie. Yeah, after ibogaine, they gave me a smoothie. They're like, "What do you want?" Because they'll make you whatever at this place. Like we have private chefs and everything, so it's really nice. You could ask them for anything, they would make it for you. But I wanted a smoothie after, and it was the most amazing smoothie after ibogaine. Oh, it was amazing. I was like, oh, after you don't have nothing for 25 hours, and you've been throwing up, and then you're just emotionally and mentally and physically wiped out. It felt like I did 1,000 jiu-jitsu matches. Like I was that wiped out. I just was like, wow. But every day, just gave me my life back. It made me a better person. And obviously I didn't want it to talk about it as much, because in the beginning when I talked to even my parents, my dad, about it, he was like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, Dad, we're not choking on a bullet. We're trying to get better here. I feel like people judge me, so I kind of stayed to myself about it a little bit, and I didn't kind of kept it to myself. But then we sent a couple other people that we knew we told them about it. And one girl was a sexual trauma and a heroin addict. She did ibogaine. She was not a heroin addict no more. She's in officer school for the Air Force. I mean, she changed her life around that much from one treatment. We had another guy we knew we sent. He had childhood trauma, and he could finally, let all that go. All the trauma that he dealt with his father and stuff. His father wasn't there, but I think during his treatment, he got to spend time with his father and deal with those traumas. Have the conversation or whatever. Other than that, I mean, if you have questions, I don't know what else to say. Sorry.
Would you do it again?
Oh. I've thought about doing it again, but it's such an intense experience. My stomach still, when she says that, my stomach goes, Oof. I'm like, yeah, I want to do it again. Yeah, I'm sure the Red Bull guy wanted to jump out of space the second time too, right? No, but I feel if I needed it, I would do it. But at this time, I don't know if I got it. It gave me a lot of the answers that I wanted, and then took away. Let me do jujitsu still. Gave me my arm back, and gave me my legs back. I don't have nerve damage. My feet don't crack. My legs don't crack or nothing. I mean, it took everything away. I mean, it was just a one and done, which is nice. And the medical industry don't want that one and done. They don't want to put you in for 24 hours. They want to take care of you for life. That's why they're fighting this. Money, money, money. If they brought it here and made this accessible to us, the medical is going to just get fried over it. They're going to lose so much money because there's no more antidepressants. There's no more, you can get rid of gabapentin for nerve pain and all these other pills. I mean, if you could do one time and get rid of all that, why wouldn't you? I mean, for me, I think for her, it was like she didn't care. It was like, what's money? Who gives a shit? If it's a, she wanted me back. She wanted me back to what I was, not what I'd become. I was kind of a monster. Not really, but I was just dealing with stuff in my own way. And I kind of shut myself off to the world a little bit and kept my friend circle really small. And that's obviously just not her. I got good friends in jiu-jitsu that they see when I'm starting to slip off the edge, a little bit. They call, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" So I had good friends. I had a good doctor too, a psychologist, which he wasn't against the idea, but I could even see, I'm good friends with him, but I could even see him having reservations about it because it would take away his job. Honestly, I'm just being honest. I'm good friends with him, but he doesn't, like, he couldn't believe when he talked to me. He's like, wow, like, you're so much better. Like we've been talking for 15 years. You go for one treatment and then you're where, you've already went past 15 years of treatment, or just going to counseling, dealing with stuff. And again, it's going to take a lot of jobs, and then it's about money. It's about money and keeping people working, But I think, and that's the reason why I came to talk about it, because my wife said, that I was given a gift. That if I keep it to myself and not share that gift, this is my chance to help people, or at least give people information that maybe they can make their own decision on wanting to do what they want to do. But they can see that I am living proof that it does work. Yeah. Yeah. So it.
No pharmaceutical company advertisements for this one.
No. But yeah, it just.
Do you feel like people felt like you were denying that you were better?
Yeah. If people, they always look at you like, oh, it must be something. The weather's better or something, or you're just better. Well, I'm 2.5 years after ibogaine, and it's weird. I'm still getting sometimes I have a little slip still, but I still feel like I'm getting better with things still. I I still process stuff differently than I ever did.
You don't hold on to things. Like before when he would get angry, it would last almost a month of anger, just holding on to that anger. And then now it's maybe a day.
Not even. It's like
And-
15 minutes
and
now. It's like,
just it's completely different the way he processes situations and events, that it's not, he doesn't hold on to that negative aspect of it. He processes it and lets it go. And it's just done.
I have to ask with that, does it feel, is there a somatic experience of like when you do get angry, you feel that weight and you're like, ugh, like it's like picking up a bag.
I can't, it's really hard for me to get angry.
Yeah.
Like it to the point where I can't, like it just doesn't.
Well, I've tried.
And she is good at it. She is a professional. No, but I mean, I don't, it doesn't stick to me like it did. I don't feel like I'm a sponge anymore. Like maybe I got Rain-X on my soul or something. It just slides off now. You know, I don't.
Even yesterday, it breaks.
Yeah, my son, like before I get mad, and my son was driving around, his brake calipers locked up, and he's driving his girlfriend around with his brake caliper locked up. So one pad was like this and one pad was like that. So we're going through all this stuff, and most of the time I'd be pissed. Like for some reason I decided to bleed the calipers, and the line just wasn't lining up with the washers, and it just kept leaking. I'm like, most of the time I'd be getting ready to throw something, or hit it or something, but I just, now I can just focus. So like, okay, we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna be done with this instead of wasting all that energy getting pissed off. Why don't you take that energy and fix the problem instead of trying to take energy from this and energy from this, and then just why waste all of it now? I wasted so much of my life being angry and upset, and it.
Positive emotion.
Huh?
How about positive emotion? Is it the same? Does that slide off as well, or do you hold on to that?
No, it slides too. Really, I mean, nothing really sticks to me like it used to. I mean, I can feel like somebody say, "Oh, you did good" or whatever. I can feel that, like, okay, but it doesn't. It's not like.
You don't hold on to it.
Yeah, it's like, okay,
It's like, it's almost like he's like, hey, okay, that's good. And it's
Yeah.
like, wait, bring that back. Like, I want that emotion to stay, not the anger to stay. I want you to hold on to the joy, and it doesn't. It's like, okay, and all right, moving on. It doesn't.
I don't.
How does that compare to before? I'm just curious.
So he would be happier about certain things a little bit longer, but it was never. That would be fleeting also. It never stuck. The anger was the only thing that ever really stuck around, and it would have a grip on him.
It's my only
just
friend,
would
like I
not-
said. It was my
Like,
constant.
He was comfortable in the darkness, and
Mhm.
I think at times the joy of life would almost be overwhelming, and so he didn't want to hold on to it. And the quicker he could let it go, the just.
Do you notice like the fleeting increase?
It actually, now after post ibogaine, he would hold on to it and almost enjoy it. Like, for instance, our son would compete in jiu-jitsu before, when he would lose. Oh, it was horrible.
It's coming back. It's coming back. It didn't work. It didn't work. I'm having a relapse here.
But then he would start to win, and he would enjoy those wins a little bit more with him. And our son would kind of like come to enjoy his joy, as opposed to, oh God, Dad's gonna be pissed again. Like that kind of thing. But it would stay around. He would enjoy it, and then it would be gone.
Yeah.
I think I was math right.
No, you're fine.
So it's like if like you had 5 episodes of fleeting joy before, and now that lasts 5 minutes each. Now maybe it's 10 that last 4 minutes each, which is kind of how I'm down.
Before I didn't have a lot of joy in anything.
And they would be very short.
And I would just do things to try to buy my joy. maybe.
Mhm.
You know, I thought, well, or maybe another motorcycle. Maybe that'll make me happy. Then I had 5 motorcycles in the garage, and I still wasn't happy. You know, I was looking to replace something. I was looking to something to make me happy instead of looking inside, and where the treatment helped me to, like, I just did 1,900 miles on a motorcycle 6 days. You know, I enjoyed it. You know, I got to see all these wonderful places, and I enjoy. I'm not in a rush to go through life now. I'm in sitting back, and I'm kind of in cruise control, just looking at my surroundings instead of trying to fly through life. Maybe.
And you used to do that too for the fleeting moments. Like you would chase that 1 or 2 happy times that was around because there's so few and far between that I'm gonna rush to the next one and whoop, gone. And then you're like, oh, shit. You know, like now you're low.
It was like Christmas when you were a kid. You're like, oh, I got this present, and then the next day you're like, oh, I don't want this no more. You know, I sit in the corner. You know, I'd spend $48,000 on a motorcycle, but hey, you know, but no, but
I have to ask, when you were talking about towards the end of that eating experience, and you had kind of like, you're like, it's kind of fun. Did it feel like kind of a connection with the childlike wonder as you're looking at the electricity?
yeah, I just felt like that maybe I was like, I felt maybe reborn a little bit, and this was like the ibogaine's energy showing that, you know, hey, you know, I just took it in a kind of a silly way. I just felt like I was powerful in a weird way. I felt like I was revived. I got breathed new life in me, and this was this showing that I'm full of energy again, where before I didn't have any energy at all.
Right. So a lot of people with like other psychedelic experience will talk about like meeting and like holding like their child self or like a version of themselves that was when they were younger and like kind of having that commiseration and then that repair. But did it feel like you really were experiencing a rebirth rather than a meeting of a previous version?
And mine was more like a rebirth, where my brother, I think he met like a younger himself and stuff, and got to walk on the beach. And one of the ones with my brother was, he said he was walking with a little girl. He didn't know who she was, but he just felt so comfortable walking on the beach with her. And it was just, you know, so not all experiences like horrific, maybe, you know what I mean? But like, it's so hard to like all the emotions that you have during that time, and the stripping of everything, and then you're like, oh my gosh, you're seeing all this stuff. It's you have so many different emotions going through your head. You know, making sure you got all your organs, you know, during the whole thing. You know, I'm like, oh, it's my heart, everything's here. I got my kidneys, you know. You know. But no, it was. The only thing I think like what happens, like a little bit more counseling after to help navigate the new you. You know, because you have, when you're younger, you parents tell you, like, you're supposed to do this, supposed to do this. You get those sets of skills, but then when you're stripped, you know, I was like, well, I was 49 at that time. It's living that way, even dealing with trauma from holding on to trauma from when I was a child. I've held on to trauma for 45 years, you know. It just felt like I could breathe again, maybe. I could sleep, you know. I just felt like the weight was off me. The
I do have to ask, has it been enjoyable to meet yourself?
It's different because you know, you live so a certain way for so long, and then you have to change, you know. So, you know, you're familiar with the, you know, the way you were before, and now you have it. So it's been fun. You know, to, I mean, I'm sorry, to slow down a little bit and slow life down and just sit back, and again, like being out of the matrix, you know, it's just, you don't care about the things that everybody else is being bothered by, because it doesn't affect you, you know. I enjoy the just getting out riding in my motorcycle sometimes, or just the little things matter now than some of the, you know, the things that would bother me before, you know. Because obviously every time I leave the house on my motorcycle, I'll be like, well, this is going to be my last time. I've been hit twice already, you know, final destination, you know. So now I obviously don't worry about it now. It doesn't bother me. But before I would leave the house, I mean, I'd be sick before I go on a motorcycle trip because I'm like, oh, I'm going to crash or somebody's going to hit me again, you know, or.
He would be physically sick. I mean, he would probably spend an hour of
I was just so afraid that somebody's going to hit me again, but I'm not going to stop living life because I'm afraid. I'd rather people know me going out and doing what I love to do than being like Elvis, being the king, dying on the throne. You know, so at least I'm doing what I love to do. You know, I guess it's it's there's so many different emotions. It's hard to sometimes put them into words. You know. Yeah, I mean, if they felt like they needed it or whatever, yeah, of course. I wouldn't think twice if it felt like it would help my son in any way, shape, or form, or my wife. I wouldn't even think twice. She'd be on the next flight tomorrow, you know, if that's what she wanted to do.
Like a lot of parents that go through these journeys, like before they're like, I'll be damned if my kid does drugs, and then once you come back, you're like, well, for purpose, we're healing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say, yeah, I'll let my kid go do it.
I mean, it's not, they even asked me at a city. I did my statement at the House of Representatives or whatever, and one of the well, yeah, I'm trying to remember how stupid the question was. Yes. She goes, is this something you do recreationally? I go, if you're a psychopath, I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, oh my goodness. I'm like, that's a real dude there. If he's doing it all the time, you can leave him alone, you know, but no, it's, and then they ask stupid questions like, they'll ask like race questions. Like, oh, the one congressman asked me in one of the psychedelic meetings, he asked me, he says, how does it affect the African American community? Like, I'm like, we're all human beings, dude. Well, I mean, that's what I said to him. We're all the same, dude. You know, like, what does race have anything to do with it? It's like, if it's for everybody, it's not gender or race specific, you know, or. Yeah, it's like, but that's when that senator said it at the psychedelic meeting. He asked me that. I'm like, excuse me? Like, we voted you in? Like, what? That's the dumbest question ever. I mean, come on, really? Like, it's different for me than it is you. Come on.
So with writing now, I assume like before you focus on kind of like the danger and it was getting point A to point B and you're like, yay, thrill, motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
And I come from a biking family too. But now, does it feel more like the cinematic kind of when Harley has a commercial?
Yeah, you pay attention to more of the surroundings. You enjoy God's creation or whatever you want to be. You get to look around and you see things and experience things that I normally would be like this, you know. Yeah, I did I think a year after my arm was paralyzed, my arm came back. I did the tail of the dragon. I went down the Smoky Mountains. I'm on a bike. When they said I wouldn't do it again, I wouldn't be able to do these things.
You remember what you said after, emotionally, what it did to you? How much you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I enjoyed the fact that I could still do what I love to do, and it gave it to me. It gave me that back, and so, I mean, for what I owe ibogaine more than it's ever done for me. I mean, I owe it a lot. I mean, it's changed my life.
Do you feel that you have a greater range of emotions now?
Yes, I'm a little more emotional than I've been before. I notice I'm a little more feelings a little bit more now, where I was more just a hardened. I have more empathy now.
You're less defensive.
Yeah, it just well, it depends. My kids can get on my nerves sometimes, but for the most part, I don't feel like I need to, argue with somebody, or I don't.
You're a lot more understanding.
Understanding of situations, or your opinion doesn't bother me because that's your opinion, you know. Where before your opinion would bother me, and then I'd be able to get pissed about it. It's your opinion. You're a human being. You have the right to your opinion. You know what I mean? Or
It sounds like everybody in Congress.
100%. Absolutely.
Just saying.
I think it would change a lot of things, but the problem is it'll change their money they're getting on the side. You know, those campaign donations. You know.
Well, and it opened your mind to just perspective in general. Remember we talked about that? It just, you viewed things kind of in a more of a positive way than everything in a negative light. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. You just look at more of what I can do than what I can't do. Before I was like, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. Now it's like there's nothing I can't do. You know, the only thing that's stopping me from doing is this right here, and this mouth telling this here that I can't do it. Yeah, it was, and the ego too was where I got rid of my ego. Where I've always been a competitive athlete my whole life, and being a competitive athlete, you have an ego. You know, that's what drives you sometimes. That's been an experience not having that like I had. So that's been different for me, not having that where I need to be the best at everything, you know.
Always proving yourself.
Yeah. I was always trying to I was my worst critic, my worst enemy. Um didn't realize all the self-talk that I was doing to myself was making everything worse, you know. Um I mean, I come back from some nasty stuff that I shouldn't have came back from, you know, and even to the point where, like I said, next month I go get my black belt in jiu-jitsu in Georgia. Um, I have a gym in Wisconsin that my friend runs. It's his now. We moved, but he still thinks I'm the original owner of it. We would give away for the paramedics and military. Like the military, if they came in with a 60% disability, they paid 60% less of what they cost to do jujitsu. So if they were 100% disabled, they didn't pay anything to go for me to teach them. So that was my way of trying to help giving back. And now with this now, I've had, you know, veterans from the gym call me talking about it. So I can help push my message even farther, hopefully to help more people. And, you know, I, I just want to help, and you know.
There's a documentary on Netflix coming out too.
Yeah, you gotta tell what the name of it is.
No, it's there's the special force operators that went through ibogaine down in Ambio. They did a documentary called Waves of War, and that's actually coming out on Netflix. It's a really, I did see a preview of it. It is the same exact treatment that he went through.
Same place.
They did the Stanford study, and they went through all of that, and it was, if you get a chance to watch it, and I have a feeling everybody in this room probably will, it is really just a mind-blowing documentary. It's really, really kind of neat. It's first perspective. All the operators that went through it were all Special Forces SEALs, saw heavy, heavy combat, pretty traumatic stuff that they've gone through. Really a neat.
It's called Waves of War.
Waves of War.
I think I've seen every Sean Ryan episode that they've talked about it.
Yes, he's DJ Shockley. Like, there's a whole bunch of they are really, their stories are.
I had a special operator with us in the ibogaine.
Yeah, you did too.
He was 25 years, 26 years, very quiet, but he had a lot of trauma, you could tell. And he had a lot of problems with ibogaine too, because ibogaine showed him his own death, and so he had a real problem dealing with that. And I know he's doing better now, but you know, he was one of the people that was in the 5-MEO, the experience. He was the one beating on the floor saying, "Take me with you, don't leave me." So I mean, it works for even the baddest of people, the strongest guys. I mean, they're guys that have been through so much. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I seen something during ibogaine. I kind of figured it was like my own. I seen a burning wick across like I was just sitting here, and it was like a rope that was burning, and it was half burned. I just took that as like, I've already wasted this half of my life is gone. I only have this left to live. Do you want to just let it burn up like this, or do you want to live this part of your life? And that's the way I took it. It may not have been.
You reference it a lot, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like the Wick said, I only have this much left. I cannot waste it.
I told her, yeah, I need that car. This much left. I need that new motorcycle. This much left. You know, but
With the riding community, there's a lot of people, at least like people that are affiliated with, groups and whatnot. Some of them have like heavy drug use experience. Um, do you think that it would help people that find themselves maybe not having had like the same kinds of trauma, but people that are in communities where it's kind of encouraged for you to fight or encouraged you for you to be that kind of guy and that free spirit?
yeah,
I've willfully traumatized themselves.
Yeah, but even heroin addiction, it's one dose. You know, it's your choice after that. You know, you can choose to go back and do the same shit over again and have the same result. Ibogaine just clears the slate and then gives you the option to do what you want. You can either make the right choice or the wrong choice again. Because I did have talked to the main lobbyist. He's a helicopter pilot in Washington. I talked to him at one of the psychedelic things, and he was talking about how he went off and did, kind of did the same stuff again, but then he realized through time that, like, look, this is the reason what they gave me. Why am I doing this? And he straightened back out, but you just can't go back and do the same shit over again, expecting a different result. you know, you know.
You can see what you're doing before it was more unconscious.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't drink alcohol, so that's one of the curses that my family had, so I wanted to break that curse. So I wasn't there for addiction. I was there for mental, having problems with my just processing life, and cleared all the cobwebs. Yeah.
So I'm in pharmacy school, and in school we learned that like us and the doctors should like never recommend psychedelics, like you're super against it. So I was curious like what your doctor said, like your primary doctor, like what he said whenever you came back, like your like nerve pain was
yeah, they told me like they can't believe it. They don't know. But when I said Ibogaine, they don't have any idea what I said. I just spoke a different language to them. It's not a trade name, that they can write a script for. I think what's the primary care doctor name again?
Ours, Lefevre.
Lefevre. I told him, he's like, huh? That's what he said to me, huh? And then he didn't bring
also
anything else up about it.
But he was also kind of dismissive in a way where he's like, yeah, no, that didn't work. Like he's very like just kind of put off by that. There's no way that one time that it literally gave you. I mean, he had paralysis. He could not pick up his arm without the assistance. I mean, and now
I even put in for the robot sleeve.
Yeah.
That was that bad. They have a robot sleeve for brachial plexus. It's a robot sleeve you wear that takes up the rest of what you lost.
Real expensive for the parts.
Oh yeah. He said that there's no way that this one time that you're better, and he's like,
well, I think
proof of it.
Well, I think too we carry a lot of I know it may sound silly, but generational traumas. A lot of people don't believe in that, but we carry traumas from our families and stuff. We carry that with us, and we don't realize we're carrying it with us until we go through that experience, and you're like, wow, I can breathe again. I was carrying all this extra baggage I didn't need, like carrying a rucksack of life, and it's an experience. I wish I could just go poof and you guys all understand what I'm talking about, but everybody's experience is their experience,
Did you experience, I don't know the proper term for it, but like derealization or depersonalization or disconnected from, because you seem very grounded. Did you experience that?
Whereas I felt like I wasn't part of the earth, and
regular
when I was at the DMT, I felt like totally disconnected. Like I didn't feel. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I didn't feel any of my worldly things. Like I didn't feel love, like I was missing my wife or nothing. None of that mattered during that time, so I was totally disconnected, totally unplugged.
But even afterwards.
To be honest.
I was a little bit in the beginning because I didn't know how to deal. She had dealt with me a certain way for so long, so that when I came back, she was expecting me to act a certain way, like I had done before. And so it was a learning curve, I think, for both of us a little bit.
Oh, 100%.
Um,
Oh yeah, it was.
she would say something, she'd be
Well,
like, what's wrong with you? You're not freaking out, you know? Like, but no, but it took me a little while to maybe to
took about 6 months.
about 6 months. Yeah, it just took time, a little bit of time. It's not like I couldn't be around people. I was just trying to process everything that happened to me and try to put it to where I could process it in my own brain and move on. It was just like every day it just got better. So it was like, it wasn't like I did ibogaine and then I felt better. It was like I did ibogaine and then everything started going better. Like
But it took some time because when he came home, we had to relearn how to interact with each other because he had to learn how to just be himself with them. Like it was completely new, so he had to learn just how to live life. And then I was responding on what I knew, which was completely different than what was. And it was, there was probably about 6 months of disconnect between us where, I mean, he had this love times a million and
I'm like, who are you?
Don't take it. He loved his wife, but it was much different when he came home.
I had to process that.
He had to almost learn to love me again, which was, it was, and don't take it the wrong way. It was shocking to me because I didn't expect that. I didn't have any, this is what he'll be like when he gets home. This is just what came home. And it was unexpected. And I expected, hey, we're good. And he was like, we need time to relearn us. And even the family dynamic, even with the kids, it was a little bit different. But he worked at it. He put in the work to do it. So
yeah, it was.
That's what they mean when they say that the after effects can last for like a year.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I still feel even
Still
2.5
today.
years. I still feel stuff happen. I still feel my nerves moving, like they're still rebuilding. Like I was.
Even some of the effects though, like mentally.
Yeah.
It's little things.
Yeah, little things. You'll still notice little things. I mean, I can slip back and be angry if I want, but it's just not something that I want to do anymore.
It's not your default go-to.
Yeah, it's not. It's not my.
Yeah.
It's not like a Bam Bam from Flintstones. Just smashing shit everywhere. Bam.
And that's a great way to put it like that because his default is now something different and something new. So that's what he defaults to as opposed to the anger or holding on to that. So yeah.
I love the way that you say that you had to relearn the emotion because I've heard it like with IBM, it's like you don't know until you know.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember the point that you actually died?
Yeah, after I exhaled. Yeah. Yeah.
Like the moment you die, and then all of a sudden,
Like nothing matters.
you have such joy because you're alive.
Yeah.
And you can't believe it's real.
Mm-hmm.
And you're putting a lot of it into words really well because I've never known how to even describe it, but the fact that you had to then, like, now I have to figure out who I actually am.
Yeah.
And I love that because you're still working on it, where you didn't just say, okay, it didn't work. Because I also know somebody that said, it just didn't work. And so they have no desire to get well, even after going through it, which is
That's spot on.
hard to believe because it does change you.
Oh.
If you want to change.
Yeah, that's it. You gotta be at like wit's end too. You gotta accept the fact that it's gonna show you like I said before, it's gonna give you what you want, maybe not what you need, or what you think you need. It'll take away the things that it's supposed to take away. You have to just accept what's going to happen. You know, you just got to be accepting of what you're going to see, accepting that, you know, eventually it's going to be over. You know, this is what you got to do to be better. You know, anybody can put 24 hours in and go through immense bullshit in your head to be better. Everybody in here would do it probably. I mean, to be better, to be a different human being when you a more compassionate human being.
You feel more authentic.
Yeah.
He is. And I don't say. I mean, before it's not that he was fake about things, but he would address everything through a negative lens, and the competitive, that ego of him would navigate conversations, relationships, and like that was his focus, his direction. And he's so much more open to somebody else's perspective or somebody else's thoughts. Like genuinely is like, I want to hear what you have to say instead of don't care what you have to say because this is the way I think of it.
I noticed after too when I had the counseling, the lady that was the counselor said, she goes, I think you're an empath. You know, and I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm a what? You know, but then I sat and thought about it. I have people come up to me all the time and just blurt out their problems to me. Like, I don't even know you. I'll be like, hey, how are you doing? That doesn't mean tell me everything, but they do. This means, you know, usually the one word, hey, good. But, you know, it seems like people always are grocery store all the time. It's like crazy. It's just, maybe I'm a little more open now than I was before. I mean, the resting bitch face is not working anymore for some reason. You know, the empath part's working, but this is still, you know. But no, I just have so many people talk to me now.
Even that's a little overwhelming.
Yeah, even like I said, it's overwhelming. You have to protect after you're fresh like that, you need to protect your peace. You need to protect yourself from, because you're kind of too fresh, you know, after everything is done. You know, you're trying to navigate your own stuff and you can't navigate other people's problems. You know, you got to work on yourself and your dynamic or whatever you have going on in your life.
Do you think that having, so obviously like additional therapy afterwards, but do you think having your wife like not there during the session, but like like a few sessions of couples counseling, like couples reintegration would have been helpful?
Oh yeah. I 100%. That's my only complaint about the whole experience is I just think there needs to be some more integration after. The integration before is BS because they can tell you all this stuff. They can help you with what your intention is, so you don't go in there saying that you want to relive this certain horrible experience and you're going to go through the whole experience again. You shouldn't have to go through that, you know. But you can get rid of like the negative feelings. So I think that's good in the fact that she changed my thought process on what I was asking for.
Well, and they did have a kind of a support group for spouses
After
and partners, or you know, to help us kind of transition, maybe on what they would come back like. But and I always felt really bad for some of the partners because my experience with him coming home, it was either really really good and things were okay, or there was a massive disconnect in what came home, and the spouse did not know how to process the emotions that their husband had.
Right.
And they didn't know what to do. And the support group was 45 minutes, and that was it. There was no individual, any follow-on counseling for what a spouse, and if it's traumatic, I mean, some of their stories were heartbreaking to me, but the husband would come home and he didn't know how to process his emotions. So they together did not know how to process as a couple. And that it spiraled. It was just the dark path that it went down. And I even said, look, okay, my experience is different, but here's my number. Like, just if you need to talk to somebody. And she never reached out, but I feel like our experience ended up really, really good and actually brought us stronger and closer together. And I think if there's not the support for the spouse or the partner to help them process what their partner's emotions are, it could be a really traumatic experience for both of them.
Because you can't fix nothing, you know.
It's
You know,
hard
a lot of
to understand.
times, you know, your spouse wants to fix something or help. You know, sometimes you just have to go through and just take time. You know, it just takes time. But
Patience and grace.
for me, it's.
When you were there, how long were you there? Because you had said.
I was there for 5 days.
So it's only 5 days. So the last time that you do the ibogaine, how long before you leave?
So we did. It was 3 days.
Okay.
So we did ibogaine, and then we had the gray day, which was like the day for because we didn't eat all day the day before and stuff, trying to get our energy back. Then we did the 5-MeO the next day, and then we left the following day.
So did you work with your therapist to do any of the integration when you came back since?
Yeah, I had you have 2 sessions.
How long after you got back did you have your first session?
About a week. I did my first session about a week, and I had one a week after. That you can keep doing the sessions, but she's like $250 an hour. I was like, no, thank you. You know, we were gonna wing it here. We're flying with seat our pants like we've been doing the whole time. But I think, I mean, I have a counselor here. I try to talk to him about it a little bit on the side, but again, you know, people don't understand. Some people, the older generation, is kind of stuck in this. You know, kind of some people. Not you. I'm sorry. He's shaking his head. Not you. Not me. But some of it's hard to change the old views and stuff. That's like even when I went to again speak and stuff, they were just, how much does this cost? How can anybody else afford this? You can afford it. You put money all these other garbage places. Why don't we just, you know, we can use the money a little bit better, get the people off the streets, you know, get them cleaned up, get, you know, everybody else that's got trauma. I mean, I think the problem is they'll finally realize that the government's the real problem, and you know they don't want us to all like pull out of the matrix and go, oh, you've been fooling us this whole time, you know.
So there was an earlier question about your primary care doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I was curious because when we first met, you were telling me you've got all these medical records that show where you were before and where you were after. Did any of the specialists or other people you had worked with show any curiosity at all and want to understand what?
No, when I was going through I did tell my massage or my physical therapist, because I was doing therapy for my arm and stuff, and she's like, what are you going to do? I said, I'll be gone for a week. I won't be here next week, you know, like. And she just,
what about when you came back? What did she say?
I don't know, she's like, man, you're doing like great and stuff like you know, but then you tell them like what you did, and they're like, I have a what, you know.
You were gone for a week. You came back 2 weeks later, and you're a different person, and that's it. No curiosity, no.
There was a lot of disregard for that can't be what did it. Like there's
people measure this every day.
Yeah, I have proof that, like I said, I mean, I had a doctor said I wouldn't, if I would be lucky to get to like 40%. And he told me, he said, because he said, I want to be realistic with you. Because, I mean, if you ever seen the show Pitbulls and Parolees, there's that guy on the show, the black guy, he's got his hand in his pocket all the time. That's the same injury I got. That's the same one. And he can't, his arm is totally paralyzed. Can't use it at all because he didn't, you know, obviously if he'd have had maybe this treatment right off the get-go, maybe he would have been in a better situation than he is now.
When they were monitoring your heart condition while you were there, and since you didn't tell them that how recent this injury was, I assume no cardiac concerns the entire time.
No, I think my heart rate went up a little bit, but I think it's because I smoked pot, you know. So when I go there, I was kind of going down a little bit, you know, get a little bit of sweats, you know, like, oh, this kind of sucks, you know. And then they're like, your heart rate's up. I'm like, you made me quit smoking before I came here, you know. Yeah.
Tell them about the sweating. I mean, it might be too much, but how you were like super, super hot and then super.
Yeah, during the ibogaine, one of the times I was going to like, I would like, cause I was in jogging pants and the shirt, and you're on like a mattress. I have pictures after. I'll show people what I have pictures of the place and where I laid and with a pizza oven, I call it, with the shaman, you know. But I go through like the severe sweats, and then I get the severe chills. So I go back and forth. It was like I'd be sweating really bad, and then something else would happen, and then I'd be shivering, and then I go back to sweating, and it happened. I don't know, for a couple hours maybe. But again, that was just me. I was the only person that threw up too, or had the dry heaves. Nobody else in the room did that. It was just me. Thank God. I got to stand out somewhere, you know.
Didn't they say that was the trauma purging?
Yeah, probably was. I suffered. I mean, since I wanted to get rid of the pain from all my past traumas. I mean, so I was throwing up, and that's trauma, I guess. I'm throwing all that sickness up. Yeah, clearing it all out, and I had a lot stored up, evidently, But in the end, I would have done it again, 100%. If I was had it, if it back then, and knowing what I know, I'd say everybody, let's all go. We'll all have a retreat together. We'll all get together and we'll do a retreat. So it's been the life changing. Yeah, I've always had kind of a little bit of sense of humor. I've always had that, but it's not always in the good,
His nickname used to be Joker, and it would be a half-hearted attempt, and now it's genuine humor. He could probably do the whole comedy show and just talking about life experiences being married to me. But
yeah, that's a story. We'll get up over there, Mike. We'll get on South Park, right? We'll get on South Park, right? Yeah.
It's a lot funnier,
yeah. But I don't know. I just try to stay lighthearted. I mean, it's hard for me. I'm obviously nervous because it's something I don't really. It's hard for me to talk in front of people. I guess I'm a little nervous because I'm always worried about what people think. And obviously, in this environment, I feel comfortable because everybody's here for this reason. Yeah. Right.
That's true.
Any other questions?
How did your perspective of jiu-jitsu change from before you went and then after?
Before I felt like I needed to win all the time. I was measuring myself off my wins instead of, jiu-jitsu, you either win or you lose. Or win or learn, I should say. Win or learn, Either win or somebody teaches you a flaw that you've had. Now I don't care. I used to go after everybody. I didn't care. Everybody was a competition match. And so that I wasn't a good training partner sometimes, maybe. It's a little aggressive, Now I just flow roll. I don't care. I don't have to win now. I'm just enjoying myself, teaching and stuff now. I guess it's become more of a, because I'll be 52. I'm transitioning from being the athlete to the teacher now. More teaching than I always kind of shied away from that because I don't want to be that old guy up there teaching everybody. But that's just a natural progression, and the sport. I'm very lucky that I got to grow up with my son, doing jiu-jitsu, so that was been good. We both have the love passion of that. And my son's like 10 in the country or whatever. He's really good. He's, I think it helped me during the times that I needed it. I needed a physical release of energy. And jiu-jitsu, you can do that, especially if you trust your partner that you go with. If you trust them, you can go as hard as you want. And you know that you're not going to get hurt. And then it ends with or just saying tap. And then it starts over, Everybody leaves the same way. So before I like I said, I lost twice in a couple of years, probably, and those two losses would bother me, and I lost like 4th degree black belts or something like that. Somebody like, you know, I should have lost to somebody like that. You know, these guys have been doing it longer than me, you know, but it would bother me to that. But now it's like, you know, it don't matter because we all lead the same. We're all the same in jiu-jitsu. It's like, I always tell everybody it's like the plumbers union. I just been in the plumbers union longer. We're all plumbers. We're just one is a better plumber than the other. You know what I mean? You know, and that's my job up here to teach you to be where I'm at.
Have you played hockey since?
No, because I'm too afraid with my neck after I got in the wreck, my lower back was kind of bothering me really bad, and my feet and my legs were real bad. So that's why I started the jiu-jitsu so I could, well, I didn't start it on purpose. The coach would harass me. Like harass me. And then finally I did it. I'm like, I'm going to show you I can't do it. I'm messed up. And then I realized, well, I can fight from my back if I want to. I can fight from the ground on my back. So I have that support on my back. So I can do these things. I can protect myself because, you know, was one of the things that really bothered me. It was like, I can't protect my family now. You know, this arm really, and that was probably ego too, you know. I never wanted to be considered weak.
Do you think that the proximity between when you injured your arm to when you took the medicine was why you were able to make the recovery that you do you feel like if it had been more time, it may not have?
I don't think I would be as far as I am. Because like I said, I was in so much pain when I went. Like, there wasn't a medication that I could take to take the pain away. It was that bad. And it was constantly like I felt like my neck was detaching from my head, or like my shoulder area the whole time. It just felt like somebody's just ripping the nerves, like all the time. I couldn't get comfortable. And then and I didn't even know my neck was broken at first because Mizzou missed it. I didn't know that my arm nerves were ripped, and they didn't know my neck was broken. They sent me home and said, "Oh, you just got a little bit of whiplash," you know. So I'm sitting there trying to pop my neck, you know, with a broken neck, you know. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what's going on? You know, I'm calling the doctor, and they're like, oh, take some aspirin. I'm like, are you kidding me? If I'm calling you, this is beyond aspirin, okay, buddy? This is not Motrin. You know, we need something stronger. But with the brachial.
Yeah, there was a
Yeah, I said that one. Yeah.
It was about, I guess it had the brachial plexus for about 20 years, same extreme pain. But I look at, like, to answer your question, that he was within 6 weeks, and I think that's why he recovered. The other gentleman, he had relief from pain, but the use of his arm was not nearly as well recovered.
I mean, I was like to the point where I was like, I even told her, I said, if this arm stops working, I'm going to find a way to get a robot arm. I'm cutting this thing off. I don't care. I'll cut it off. I was like, I'm getting it. I'm not going to be, I don't care. I'll be going like this, you know, with my robot arm or whatever. It's not going to be, I don't want to be that way, you know.
And I've seen him, you know, in 22 years, I've seen him in a lot of up and down in pain, and hands down the most excruciating that I've seen him just deal with the pain. It was horrible.
It was relentless. It was relentless. It was constant.
No matter what he did,
however I laid, it didn't matter what I took for pain. It didn't go away. It was like constantly like my head was being detached from my neck. And then, like I said, 2 months after I did ibogaine, no, it was before ibogaine, they found my neck was broken.
Right.
He was like, yeah, one of the techs, or the student doctor caught it. He's like, yeah, that's why your neck hurts. It's broken. I'm like, he's like, you should be on a collar. I'm like, dude, I've been out of the collar for like a month now. Really, dude? You're gonna put me in a collar? That'd be great, right? You know, if it, you know. And then they did the nerve studies where they put the needles in and electrocuted me, basically, like the frog treatment, I call it. And that's when they did all the things and seen that I was totally torn. So I didn't even have like a partial tear. I was totally ripped. It was totally detached. And with nerves, they only grow an inch a month up to a certain amount of time. And when you rip a nerve, it doesn't, like if I rip a nerve here, it goes to where the source of it comes from your neck. So if it cuts it here, it's got to regrow itself from all the way here. So it's an inch a month. And they said like within 2 years, it'll stop growing. And so you'll know totally what you are in 2 years.
That's where he said you'd get 40%.
Yeah, 40%. He said, I just want to be honest with you. He's like, yeah, I'm going to be surprised because I had a full avulsion, so it's a full tear. And like I said, I mean, like I could never do that, you know, and I could never do that. I mean, I couldn't do that stuff. Don't get me wrong, it's not perfect. I still feel a little bit of uncomfortable sometimes, but it gets
no one really investigated the physiology that it changed.
Not yet.
They said, oh great, you're better. Bye.
Yeah, there must be all this therapy you're in. Yeah, no, it wasn't. Yeah, it's all my private therapy that I went through, you know. But I think that I believe that that's the reason why I'm better. I mean, I think if you can fix this is the main hard drive and the main computer. If you fix this, I think you can fix all the other stuff because this controls everything. And if you fix that, clean the computer hard drive up, set it back to factory settings, I think we'll all be good to go.
But you know, the medical profession has looked at placebo effect with similar dismissals because I've read several, you know, just amazing healings that people would have that seem impossible.
I almost wonder if that's why you went. We talked about this. He had the car accident, not even a month. I think it was about a month
and a half
ago. And I think that really solidified to him how much it helps as opposed to just dealing with the PTSD
in other words,
and stuff.
If you've been healthier,
physically, just the recovery
might
of
have
it.
got a lot of benefit, but this was absolutely dramatic.
I also felt like something was trying to keep me from going. You know, like this accident happened to stop me from doing this so that I, you know, couldn't share this message today. Maybe, you know, I'll try to help people. I think this has given me some purpose, I guess, with that.
I think it's interesting too that from the MDMA talk that Bruce Seawright did, he shared the follow-up studies after people did 2 sessions of MDMA and kept improving, even over a year later. And I'm hearing him say something similar, like it keeps working. But the other thing is you haven't gone back and done more. You did today, and you've been working on integration this whole time.
Yeah.
And you keep getting better. I find that part fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, I was not even supposed to be lifting weights and stuff, and I got pictures at home where I'm lifting weights. The doctors can't believe it. Like I'm not little weight either. I'm pushing a couple 100 pounds at a time, and with an arm I'm not even supposed to be able to use. You know, they can't. They can't fathom it. Yeah. Thank you for that. See, it's there still. It's there. Thanks for bringing that up. No, but it was a lot of work. Obviously, you know, I think it just gives you the tools to be better. You have to, what you do with the tools after that's your choice. You can either.
It's so frustrating that, you know, this is absolutely clear. It's facts, testable, everything. And instead of saying, well, I'm going to go down myself and see what it's like, they just dismiss it. You know,
they don't.
It's sad.
Yeah, I think, like I said, the medical lobby is probably going to be the worst part of this. I know that Texas just passed $50 million past the governor's office to study it, ibogaine. So the governor passed it. So I mean, Texas is pretty restrictive with everything else. For them to pass something is a damn miracle. You know? But I mean, if they're seeing what it does, and when I was talking to EPIN, they're going to try to use what Texas did so they can get it passed here. And I think once we get it passed here and we just got to get past all the study stuff and just get it in people's hands and make it affordable. And
people have known about ibogaine for years. 25 years ago, I went to a medical presentation in New York on ibogaine.
Oh, wow.
focusing on the fact that it was so good for hardcore heroin addiction
Yeah.
and everything. That was the focus. But nonetheless, even that was dramatic. And then nothing. You know.
Yeah, it's just because you got to think. So you got a hardcore heroin addict. What is AA? What is their success rate? 13%,
Yeah.
13% or something like that. Ibogaine 65 or 70% one dose. I mean, you just took away nurses, doctors, treatment facilities. You know, I mean, there's a bunch of people that are gonna be. We need this medication back, you know. But I think they just gotta start caring about the people instead of caring about their wallet.
George Carlin said it
Because-
best.
George
Mhm.
Carlin's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's the best. He,
Money's in the medicine.
yep, money's in. Yeah, yeah.
Have you done any other psychedelics before?
I done mushrooms once, just to try it. I didn't. It gave me bubble guts, and everything else looked a little bit like kind of cool. You know, I was like, oh, the TV looks a little more vivid. You know, but other than that, I've never done any LSD, none of that other stuff. I went straight to the top. Yeah, I did mushrooms. I said, forget that. Let's go up here. You know, yeah, I've never done, I've never wanted to do any other things after that. I mean, other than obviously weed, you know, I still like that. I didn't take that away. I still love it. I still like it, but yeah, I use that just to help relax a little bit. You know, I still had to deal with some issues, you know, where I need to relax. You know, it didn't take away again, it doesn't take away everything, but it gave me a good chunk of my life back, and to where I feel like I can breathe, I can move around, I can go around in life. I don't have to feel like I have this negative energy behind me all the time telling me, oh, you got to be careful, you got to do this, you got to do this. I mean, I've trained my whole life to fight and to do all this stuff, you know, stuff that's never going to happen, and I've created stories in my head, you know, and become this person. I don't need to be that way. I just need to be more human, maybe.
How long do you think, so you said it was 25 hours.
Mm-hmm.
When you were done, how long did you actually think that felt like?
I felt a lot longer because we started at night and then we ended up at night again. like it turned, like you could see like through the shades. Like I said, I got pictures. I'll show everybody pictures if you want to see them. But the shades, you know, you just noticed like there's a little bit of light behind the shades, like but you had no fathom of time or whatever. I mean, you could go to the bathroom. You just raise your hand, the nurse will come get you. Just felt you had, like, your experience would stop. You could stop your experience, like in the middle of it, because I gotta go to the bathroom. The nurse will come take you to the bathroom, but it felt like you were walking in quicksand. You know, so you're like, or like the old divers. They used to have those big lead suits, or you're walking into the thing, you know, because you just felt like, you know, it was. But then you could go back, and when you start over, it would start right back where you left off. You know, it was like you can't just get past those scary parts, and you know, yeah, I just went to the bathroom. You know, you should have fast forward past those. No, it waits for you. You know, it's waiting for you. So you can see into your, you know, the opposite side. Yeah, I'll show you I got a picture of the mirror and everything.
It's like an odd thing.
Eh, stuff comes out of it. Yeah, stuff starts to happen.
Did you ever see anything physically on you change?
What do you mean, during the experience?
So when you sat or looked in the mirror, did you see anything physically like on your body that changed? Or
No, it did that whole. I was like, boop. I'm like, I ain't dealing with this right now. You know, this is intense. But then again, I put the eye mask on and I could see everything still. So it's like it opened like almost like a third eye type of stuff. So I had the eye mask on. I'm looking at my brother over here, looking at the other guy, just not even move. I'm like, the whole time he just sat there the whole time like this. You know, I'm like, this guy is not. You got to give him some more ibogaine or something. You know, he's not seeing through masks or nothing. You know, but you know, yeah, he's the whole time. I'm like, man, he's having a great time. You know, just look, he's on a water slide or something, just not off it or nothing, you know. But Yeah, he took the wrong one. Yeah, yeah, he took the wrong pill.
Thank you so much. We've got about 15 minutes left. Any closing words, any parting statements you'd like to leave with everyone?
I think it'll change the world.
Well said.
We just have to change the mind of the people that are fighting it with proof. Proof's in the pudding. They can't argue with proof. There's more people now that have done it in Missouri. Ibogaine, we have more people, including a congressman, I think, has done it too. So we have people that have done it that can give our statements, and they can't argue with facts and proof. I think that's what we need to do, is just keep getting in their face with showing how it works with people that have been through it, and get on board so everybody can experience what I experienced, maybe, or your own God journey, or whatever you want to call it, and get to and be able to give away all that trauma, to be able to live that way is free.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I was gonna start the meeting. Hi, my name is Jamie. I'm an alcoholic, but that was the wrong meeting. No.
Hi, my name is Alyssa Weinrich. Psychedelic STL is a nonprofit organization focused on educating the public about the therapeutic and transformative potential of psychedelics. Scan the QR code on the screen if you want to learn more about Psychedelic STL. We host a variety of different events, from talks about research, policy, to social events like hangouts, potlucks, movie screenings. If you want to learn more about Psychedelic STL, you can check out our website at psychedelicstl.org or scan the QR code and sign up for our newsletter, and you'll get the monthly info right to your email.